right. Well, with health care pretty much in the hopper, I guess you could say, there are signals now that the next big overhaul is aimed squarely at the financial world. So get ready for that. Today, moments from now, Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke will face the House Financial Services Committee. He's going to talk about the economy. This is a massive financial overhaul, is the next big thing on the agenda. And that is now on its way to the full Senate. So this is moving fairly quickly. Now, this bill would expand in an unprecedented way the government's grip over how Wall Street does business. Democrats believe that this legislation is absolutely necessary.
And I'm confident we can get a bill. I think the American people expect us to address the largest and most significant financial crisis since the Great Depression, caused by a collapse in our financial system, either because regulators didn't do their job or there were no cops on the beat at all, and certainly in unregulated activities that contributed to this mess.
All right, so this is going to mean some very big changes. And joining us, we're glad to have today Arthur Laffer, who is the former economic advisor to President Reagan, and he's also the author of Return to Prosperity, How America Can Regain Its Economic Superpower Status, which I think everybody can agree that would be a good thing. So, Arthur, you know, this has been sort of quietly going on behind the scenes during this entire health care battle. And there's been a lot of divide between Republicans and Democrats who've worked on it. Originally, Chris Dodd and Bob Corker, the Republican from Tennessee, were supposed to be working on this. They separated. They couldn't reach any agreement. What are the hot issues in this legislation that we need to know about?
Well, I think what's really amazing here is there is no limit to the amount of controls these people want to put on the U.S. economy. They go from health care to financial reform to medical. They go to auto industry. I mean, these people literally are trying to control. They're control freaks, and they don't have the skills or the abilities to do it in a market system, so they use the government to do it. You know, it's not the regulations that cause the meltdown. It really isn't. Private industry has done their job quite well. It's not that we need more cops. Is that literally, I mean, you have the government interfering and interjecting all throughout these systems. And it's just causing the problem to be worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, you know, one thing that I find interesting is that there were a lot of people involved in the financial meltdown. Clearly, you know, the banks and financial institutions bear a lot of blame for what happened. There's also a government component and an individual component, as I know I've heard you speak about many times.
Sure.
And Barney Frank and Chris Dodd, who, you know, have been the head of the Senate Banking Committee for a very long time, were at their posts when all of this started to unfold. I just want to play a piece of sound that we have from Barney Frank talking about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac in 2003. Let's listen to this.
I want to begin by saying that I am glad to consider the legislation, but I do not think we are facing any kind of a crisis. That is, in my view, the two government-sponsored enterprises we talk about here, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, are not in a crisis.
Yeah, so you know, Barney Frank clearly told everybody they were not in a crisis. It was, in part, his job to watch and make sure that no crisis was unfolding in either one of those entities, correct?
It's amazing. Yeah, it is. It's amazing, and there are no repercussions for Barney Frank or for Chris Dodd or for Ben Bernanke. I mean, if he had been head of a company through this crisis, he would have been ousted long ago. But no, no, no. In the political arena, there are no consequences for bad behavior. The cops that really need to be put on the beat are those that supervise the Congress and the administration. And there aren't cops there. They just rely on the elections and all this campaigning and stuff. And it's not working. We are being governed by people who aren't competent.
Let's listen to Barney Frank and what he's saying about this new legislation that they want to get through now.
There are going to be death panels enacted by the Congress this year, but they're death panels for large financial institutions that can't make it. We're going to put them to death, and we're not going to do very much for their heirs. We will do the minimum that's needed to keep this from spiraling into a broader problem.
It's a real missed message, Art. This comes from the same people who said we have to bail out all these banks or we're going to go to hell in a handbasket. Now they're saying we're going to kill them. If they look like they're suffering, we're going to kill them. We're also going to kill their heirs, the banks that come after them. What is he talking about?
It's tragic. You'd think we were in the government halls of Ethiopia, not the United States. It's a joke. And I don't know what to say about this, but these guys are quixotic. They flip back and forth, and they don't have to bear the consequences of their own actions. I mean, they aren't like real-world people. If you make a bad trade, you lose money. If you make a stupid move, you get punished for it. These people just continue and continue and continue, and it hurts the American people.
Yeah.
I just hope that somewhere along the line we get a change in that, but who knows?
before I go, because we have focused on, the fact that the government also had a role in all of this in our discussion here. But leave me with one thought that you think absolutely needs reform in the financial markets.
Well, there are reforms in the financial markets that need to be, but my view is that it's not just the financial market. The financial market is the core for all markets, and I think we need a low-rate, flat tax, and that should be the taxes without trying to redistribute success and failure amongst all the different segments of society. A low-rate, flat tax and sound money, and we would have an economy that would be second to none forever. All
right. Well, that would be nice. Art, thank you very much.
Martha.
We'd all like to see an economy like that. Good to have you with us today, Art.